All right, welcome. What I want to do here is give you feedback on one of the reviews of the papers. I will do this, I'll try to do this such that everyone can be sure they do this part one right. So, part one is the one where you look at the paper and at the end of the day, you decide, I should use it. No, I shouldn't use it as a source of evidence for my eventual project. So, first thing is, so this is the your peers' responses in this column. And this is, I'm just gonna, if I have any feedback, I'll put it in this column, which I just deleted what was there. Okay, so first is APA citation. Just again, do that with a software that I use. So we're using APA. Yeah, APA right here, seventh edition. Correct. The authors, who are they? So here's where you should, if you say primary MDs, which author? This is the paper, and the correspondence author is this guy. That's who she is. Um, so I will, um, based on her email, I think she's out of Stanford. That's her name. So let's see what else let's just Google her. How about, so this is who she is. There you go. So you rather than just say she's an MD, well, she is not just an MD, she's a clinical assistant professor in plastic and reconstructive surgery. Okay, so you know more like her interest. She tells you that she's into plastic surgery, breast reconstruction outcomes, and so on and so forth. So she has this is a education right here. So she's really qualified. She went to UPenn for plastic surgery. She went to Stanford. She's board certified. So she's been in really top universities um, in doing plastic surgery. So she's somebody I would want to listen to, right? So that gives a lot of credence, a lot of validity to your paper. So that's her professional identity. But what's her scholarly identity? What has she done, research-wise? So for that, I'm just going to go to PubMed. So if you want to know more about who the principal author is, whether they are qualified, whether you want to trust what they say. Uh, so this is who she is. And notice that's her name in bold. She's written um, at least 10 scholarly papers. There's actually more, so 25 results. So my better answer to, or let me say my suggestion as you look up people, really looking at the principal author. So I'm not just going to say that, um, she's primarily MDs. I'll say that who she is, Sarah, she is an authority in plastic. Okay, so that's that. The next thing is institution. We saw right here, she's out of Stanford. Again, there may be other people from other institutions, but let's just work with the correspondence author. Who's the publisher of this journal? So this is correct. So the publisher is Oxford Academic. They are the ones so Oxford Press, the academic division. That's the publisher. If you want to be sure. So who are they? They're the publisher. They do journals, they do books, of course. And so, Oxford Academic is the home of academic research. There you go. From Oxford University Press, the world's largest university press. So, and that's actually true. Um, so Oxford Academic, or you could just say Oxford University Press. So in addition to that, that's the journal. I'm just going to put it here. Okay. Okay. So next is it peer reviewed? We looked at this. We do know it's peer reviewed and it's primary and it's scholarly. Now, this is interesting. Why? Because first of all, we all agree it is peer reviewed. How do we know that? So I agree with that one. How do we know that it is peer reviewed? So we'd have to go to the description of this journal. So I'll go to the about. And that's the journal, so they will tell us about them. So it's an award-winning, blah, blah, blah. It is peer-reviewed. The fact that it's peer-reviewed doesn't mean it's a legitimate source. But we see that it's a journal is the official language of many societies of plastic and aesthetic and reconstructive surgery. Okay. Now it could be peer reviewed, but or and not or and primary, or peer reviewed and review. It could be a review article that is a secondary article. So the reason I say this paper is interesting is because, all right, so there it is because it has all the attributes of, it's ended in in at least four sections. There's going to be an introduction, which they have. I don't know whether they don't have a title for it. So there's an introductory section. There is a method section. So primary articles have intro, method, and there should be results. The data indeed is, I want to say secondary because it's data that, like many observational studies, is data that has already been collected. What they've just done is they've pulled it and analyzed it. And it doesn't mean it's not primary research. It's primary research because you can see the data they analyzed and how they analyzed it. But it is they're using evidence that has been collected previously from some sort of database. In this case, the um, citation on social media. Okay, so that this that part threw me off where they say it's a review article. It is not a review article, it's a primary research article. So next, let's go back here. So it is primary, so this is correct. And of course, it is scholarly. It is not a trade publication. It will be a publication if it is published by someone, maybe like a company that just summarizes research results internally and presents the results and and publishes that result. Well, it has that would not have gone for peer review. And so that would be considered a trade journal. And how do you know the population? You have to go to the method section. It's a post that was done within people in the United States between a certain date, March 2018 to February 2023. So if I was to write that, I wouldn't say that it's US citizens between certain dates. Okay. The independent variable, that is what predicts that really in this paper is time. Why do I say that? So usually the independent variable is the variable that explains the change in the dependent variable. So this dependent variable is certainly correct, but what predicts? Let's look at the paper again. There is a convention. It's an unspoken rule or might be spoken in some settings. The independent variable usually is something that the investigator picks, and it's usually the first column on a table. It's what is said to predict what is and citation APA, so you should cite your paper. Again, I'm going to use my Zotero here and just it automatically does that for me, APA style. And that's APA, the first name and the initials of the authors. So that's what is required for page one. And then page two is the summary, and these are the instructions for that summary.